Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive. We take your sources and really pull out the key insights. Today we're looking at the dark tale of Sandra Bridewell, the Black Widow's Web.
Uh,
You sent over this, well, frankly, chilling account. A woman known for charm, sophistication, but hiding something very dark.
exactly. And what's so striking in the source material is how it builds this initial image of Sandra Bridewell. Seen as this epitome of grace, success, really respected. But this deep dive, it's going to reveal this web, deceit, manipulation, murder. It's all there. We're
Okay.
really going to explore that stark contrast.
Yeah.
The public face versus the reality of her actions.
Right, and that's where it gets truly fascinating, isn't it? Our
Sure.
mission here is sort of trace that journey. How does someone go from being, a respected community figure to what the source calls a convicted Black Widow? We need to look closely at those deaths, two husbands, and the evidence that brought it all down.
It really is, when you look at the bigger picture, a classic, almost cautionary tale about appearances being deceptive. And the terrible cost of unchecked ambition, of greed. The sources lay it out. The first husband, wealthy guy, entrepreneur, dies from a fall. Seems mysterious. Then years later, husband number two, a prominent lawyer, found dead, apparent suicide. And this happens after she'd been gaining more and more control over his life, his affairs.
Two deaths, years apart. It must have raised questions, but maybe not connected initially. The source outlines how that pattern only became clear much, much later. Can you maybe walk us through what investigators started figuring out about that first death? What shifted it from just an accident?
Yeah, absolutely. So initially, husband number one's death ruled an accident, a tragic fall. But the sources point to this critical piece that surfaced later, a huge life insurance policy. Sandra had taken it out just weeks before he died, naming herself the sole beneficiary. And crucially, she didn't mention this to the police at the time. That detail, plus apparently an anonymous tip years down the line, forced them to reopen the case. Suddenly, that fall looked deeply suspicious. It kind of set the stage.
Wow, a chilling detail indeed. And the second husband, initially called a suicide. Sounds like similar red flags might have been there too. How do they piece that one together? Especially with her tightening control.
Well, tragically, the second case had that same deceptive simplicity at first glance, suicide. But the source really highlights the growing unease. People noticed Sandra had been sort of systematically isolating him, cutting him off from family, friends, while simultaneously getting deeper into his finances, seizing control, really. And what jumped out after his death was the rapid transfer of his assets into her name. She was apparently trying to liquidate things almost immediately. The police may be hesitant at first, but the financial motive was just so strong, and her reported coldness, it pushed them to dig deeper.
So connecting these dots, what does it all add up to? Sandra Bridewell's story, it's this really haunting reminder, isn't it? How much appearances can fool you. The lengths people might go to for money, for control. She was eventually convicted, right? Two counts of murder, fraud charges, life in prison.
That's right, life imprisonment. And the question becomes, how did they finally break through that sophisticated mask she wore? The sources emphasize the emergence of, well, concrete proof, things you can't easily explain away. Forged documents turned up. Wills had been manipulated, cutting out family members, and a trail of secret bank accounts, even across state lines. It showed a clear, calculated pattern. What's just astounding is how this woman, perceived as so charming, so graceful, could orchestrate all of this so ruthlessly, all for wealth and maybe a kind of freedom from consequence.
Yeah, the media jumped all over it. Painted her as this master manipulator, which seems accurate based on the sources. Really makes you think about the power of manipulation, not just in theory, but how it plays out. How someone can just dismantle another person's life piece by piece for their own gain. It wasn't just about the money, was it? It feels like it was about total control and just discarding people when they were no longer useful.
Absolutely. It's a story that, understandably, continues to fascinate people interested in true crime. There's so many layers. And for you, the listener, maybe consider that question. How far can ambition drive someone? How far can greed push them? And maybe also how incredibly difficult it can be sometimes to see past a carefully built facade, to understand someone's true intentions. It's a powerful lesson, I think, in looking deeper, beyond just the polished surface, because you never know what might be underneath.